Get ready for full-tilt pro bass action. Winning tips and techniques. Inside info and tournament strategies to make you a better bass angler. Big fish, hot sticks, and serious money on the line. This is the 2003 Gander Mountain Pro-Am Invitational Bass Tour. Brought to you by Columbia Sportswear, Triton Boats, and Mercury Marine. Now, let's let her rip. Welcome back to the legendary Arrowhead region of northern Minnesota. We're here on the rocky shores of sprawling Lake Vermillion for the final round of the 2003 Gander Mountain Pro-Am Tournament of Champions, and it's been a tight one so far. If you missed our first round coverage last week, let's take a minute to bring you up to speed. In this two-day championship event, the field consists of 40 pros and 10 amateurs, the top point winners from this year's Gander Mountain Pro-Am Bass Tour. Anglers are allowed a limit of 5 bass each day, the championship title to be determined by the heaviest combined two-day bag weight. And unlike the regular season, in this tournament, the competitors are fishing alone without the benefit of a partner. Day one was a mixed bag. East side versus west side, smallmouth versus largemouth, shallow versus deep. Vermillion's west side holds the predominant largemouth population, and anglers scored early with numbers of black bass. But big fish were few and far between.
We're kind of in the midst of a bonanza. They're not big enough fish, but it sure is fun. Getting tired out.
Anglers fishing the east side, prime smallmouth water, were finding bigger fish deep, holding on rocky humps. But the bite was considerably slower.
I got 2 fish like that, 3 other good ones. I know the potential on the spot, so I'm just kind of hang out here. I'm not gonna really fish a lot more. Try to save them for the second day. I know it's kind of risky, but you know, I know there's a ton of fish here, and hopefully I can hit them just as good tomorrow.
And day one had its share of problems. Angler of the Year Dean Capra had motor trouble and was forced to borrow an unfamiliar boat.
I don't know what happened, but it ain't no good. At least I'm still fishing. The guys from Timbuktu were nice enough to loan me his boat.
And just after blastoff, Jeremy Keel blew his engine and was confined to fishing the narrows nearby the weigh-in site with only his trolling motor to get him to the fish.
He's already got about 12 pounds. A lot of guys would have just threw up their hands and said, party's over, I'm done. It would be really cool to see him cash a big-time check after that.
At the end of the day, the deep smallmouth bite prevailed. Grant Miller's 5 big smallies tipped the scales at 16.04 pounds for the top spot.
16.04, all browns?
All browns.
Jim Smith stands at second with 14.51, and Brent Carlson is in for third with 14.30.
Third place point.
Today, it's anybody's game. The top 10 finishers are separated by less than the weight of 1 big fish, and Vermillion's got some bruisers. Plus, now that the boys have day one under their belt, they've pretty much got their patterns and locations established. Now it's just a matter of keying in on the biggest fish. But finding big fish is one thing, catching them is another.
There he is. I got him. Oh, no, he's going to put the bait. He lost it.
Whatever happens, we guarantee you're in for some serious bass action by some of the finest anglers in the Midwest. So don't go away. We'll be back with the final round of the 2003 Gander Mountain Pro-Am Tournament of Champions right after this.
Yes.
It's a picture-perfect morning as anglers gather for blastoff at Timbuktu Resort, smack dab in the middle of 40,000-acre Lake Vermillion. Tension is running high because today, all the money's on the line.
Game plan for today is going to be just slow down, work the good areas where I caught the big fish yesterday, and hopefully we can turn it around, come from second, get in first place, make it happen.
I'm basically fishing one school of fish. I've got other schools to go to if they're not there, but even the first day I fished the same school of fish, but I caught what I felt I needed to stay up in the top 3. Worked out in first, but I quit after I got what I thought I needed, so I left it alone. I feel there's at least another 50 fish there, so hopefully it all works out. We'll get them.
At the end of the day, we'll find out who walks away with the check, the trophy, a brand new Triton boat and Mercury outboard, and the championship title.
what a beautiful day 2 morning. A lot of the fishermen are already to their spots. They're dropping their trolling motors. Somebody's probably setting a hook already. Obviously, smallmouths have had a big impact on this tournament. First place and second place. The interesting thing to me is how many largemouth have been brought in with one really big fish. I know a lot of guys are changing their thinking for day 2 from day 1. We'll see what happens to them. It's a perfect morning for topwater fishing for these big smallmouth. I think we're going to see some big bags of big fish come in today. You couldn't ask for better conditions.
Just as Al said, conditions are perfect for a hot topwater bite, and smallies are blowing up on the surface all over the place. But getting hookups isn't always easy, as Angler of the Year Dean Capra discovers.
He's going to get this fish. This fish is like, oh.
Come on, baby. There he is. I got him. Oh, no, he took the bait and lost it. Oh, my God. I never set the hook. Oh. Unbelievable.
Despite all the surface activity, Day 1 leader Grant Miller had boated his first place bag on this very same spot with a drop shot rig, and he was sticking to his guns. Fishing deep, he scores early.
Yes. I need 5 of those right there.
And there's number 2 for Miller. Not the biggest fish, but he's off to a strong start.
Not quite what we're looking for, but...
Jim Smith, in second place going into Day 2, is working docks and reeds for largemouth. Pitching his jig and craw under the lucky fin, he smacks a real horse right off the bat. He may not be finished, but he definitely got lucky.
What we need right there. All right.
Now I can just relax a little bit. I got my kicker right off the bat. That always helps. Now I can just, if I go scratch out a decent 2.5 pound limit, I think I'll be right where I was yesterday, and I think I'll be in the running for the first place on this tournament. There we go.
Miller hasn't moved. He knows his rock pile is full of smallies, and he's camped right on top of them.
Real good one. That's the one we need right there. Same spot as the other good ones. Oh man, that's a fish.
And with his light spinning rig, 6-pound test, and a light wire hook, he's got to pull this big boy out of 14 feet.
Yes! Yeah! It fell out of his mouth. Yeah! Oh, baby. It fell out of his mouth. Oh, yeah. Can't stop shaking. How many times are you guys who can't stop shaking for... I can't even talk.
Back in the shallows, Jim Smith is popping fish left and right. And with his heavy flipping stick and 20-pound line, he's just heaving them in as fish number 2, 3, and 4 sail into the boat.
What we're doing is fishing these isolated little patches of reeds and bulrushes. And a lot of them are in between docks. A lot of guys fish the docks, and they just miss fishing all this stuff in between. A lot of times, if the docks are getting pressured, the fish will back out into these isolated little pockets. It's really one of the keys to my pattern going this weekend. Hopefully it works.
Miller's still working it, and there's number 4.
Yes, not as big as the other one, but that's a good fish. Whew.
But Miller and Smith aren't the only contenders in this horse race. Vermillion's hot all over.
It's not even 9 o'clock, and Severson's got a nice limit of fish. He had 12 and change yesterday, and he figures he's got well over 13 pounds. He's going to be a player.
Drop shot out here in 20 feet of water. Catching a few good ones. I had a limit by 8 o'clock. I've called a few out. Just waiting for those big ones. I know there's some 4s and 5s down there.
Depending on the area, lots of various presentations have come into play, and they're all producing fish. Doug Copeland's been on a pretty good crankbait bite.
Yes.
You know, it's really interesting. There's going to be some big bags of fish come in. The weather conditions are really right today, and we're running around seeing a lot of the fishermen catch their fish on a lot of different baits. Top water is a factor, cranking is a factor, drop shotting is a factor, and jerk baiting is a factor. Those four seem to be the mainstay. But you'll watch these guys, they'll get on, depending on if they're fishing the top of the rocks or down the sides, how each structure is laid out. They'll come over with a top water bait, they'll do a little jerking, they'll crank over the tip of a point, and they'll drop shot if they come a little bit deeper. And they're catching a few fish on everything. Just goes to show you how important it is to always be versatile. And when you're on a structure with a lot of fish, from top to bottom, a variety of different kinds of baits, not just one thing, can be the trick.
I would say I probably got around 15 pounds, maybe 16. I don't think I have anything under 3.
Meanwhile, Paul Lewis is pumping largemouth out of the pads. He gets a good one here, fattening up his ever-burgeoning bag. Grant Miller's still camping, and he hooks into a good one for number 5. Working gingerly with his light line, Grant gets her to the net, and the adrenaline kicks into overdrive.
Yes! Yeah! That's a horse. It is as big as the first one, but it's 4 pounds. Yeah! Right in the middle of it, I think. You know, I did the cardinal sin. I didn't check my line after that last fish. Can't be thinking of stuff like that right in the middle, fighting a fish that big. Yes.
That's 5 for Miller, but Jim Smith still needs one more. Frustrated with a slow reed bite, he heads back to the Lucky Fin. You don't suppose St. Erho was a bass fisherman.
9:18 right now. We got 5 fish. We probably got 12 pounds. We got one good kicker, probably 4 3/4, 5. We got to upgrade the rest of our catch, try and get some 3-pounders in the boat, and we'll be setting all right going into the weigh-in today. So
We're at the halfway point through day 2, and things are tightening up. So stick around. We'll be back right after this.
hot dog.
The clock is ticking, and most of the guys have their limits. Everybody's in upgrade mode. Grant Miller is confident with 2 giant smallies in the box.
I told him I was looking for the mother load. I think I found it. As long as I execute here the rest of the day, there shouldn't be any problem.
Smith has 1 big horse, but Jim knows he needs to bridge a 1.5-pound gap to overtake the day 1 leader. Both anglers are catching fish, but nothing to improve their bags. Until now.
That's a good one. Oh, that's a big one. Oh, yeah, right there. It's another 4-pounder. Oh, man, we are on. Look at the size of that thing. Another giant. Look at that thing. That's 4.5 pounds.
Another whopper largemouth for Smith. This is the fish he needed to mount a charge for the lead. Meanwhile, things have slowed down for Miller.
The bite is a little slower, but there's always a possibility for another one of those 4-pounders. So I think my weight is probably maybe a little lighter than what I had yesterday, which was 16 pounds. So I would never say I'm confident with the weight. There's a lot of good fishermen out here, and I wouldn't be shocked at all to see 20-pound bags. So
Back to Smith, and he's hooked into a good one.
That's a good fish. That's one we need right there. That's a 3-pounder. All right.
3-pounder. Jim's making it a real run for the money. As time winds down, both anglers are whacking and stacking, looking for that one last kicker fish as 3 o'clock creeps ever closer. And it's the same story all over the lake. The bite's been good, and there are plenty of good bags out there. Everybody knows it's going to be tight.
Well, the day 2 weigh-in is going to begin shortly. I had a chance to get out on the water, take a run around, and see what the bite is like. And I can tell you what, It's a big improvement from day one. I think we're going to see a real interesting day.
Time to wrap it up and boogie back to Timbuktu. And as the boats roll into the docks, the apprehension is running high. Time to bag them up for weigh-in, and it looks like everyone's done well. There are some fat ones coming out of the box. As Jeremy Keel checks in his bag, Brad Klein weighs in a nice bag of smallies.
Stayed on a brown fish for 11:02.
Brad was in 5th place after day 1, and today's catch brings his 2-day total to 24.50. Here's Corey Gutenfelder checking in, while on stage, Jeremy Keel is at the scales. He's been fishing largemouth in the slop both days.
Okay, you ended up with 12.38 for the day. Did you see any big fish come blow up today?
That's a 2-day bag weight of 25.37, good enough for the lead. Jim Severson's on deck as Gutenfelder steps up to the plate.
Well, 12.07 total.
Not as heavy as Keel's bag, but with a 2-day total of 25.46, he squeaks into the top spot by just 9/100ths of a pound.
Is that what you're looking for?
But watch out, here comes Severson with a bulging bag.
Nice bag of fish. Really good bag of fish. 15.64.
With a combined weight of 28.52, Jim blows into the lead by more than 3 pounds.
Oh, I see another big round coming in there.
Oh, listen to this, folks.
1785.
17.85.
Brad Leiferman has the best weight of the day so far. But unfortunately, a weak showing on day 1 keeps him out of the running. Back on the docks, the last few anglers are bagging up their fish. There's Brent Carlson. Jim Smith is unloading his horses. And Grant Miller's smallies are getting some oohs and ahs from the crowd.
I'm quite sure of that.
On stage, Doug Copeland's crankbait pattern scores
Good
big.
bag of fish. Ooh, really good. Really good bag of fish. How about 17.15?
After a tough first day, Doug's day 2 catch pulls him up to 2nd place with 26.88. It's getting down to the wire with only 4 contenders left to challenge the leader. Paul Lewis is up next.
13-12. 13-12.
Nope. 1 challenger down, 3 to go. Good idea, Al. Let's get Jim Severson up on stage to sweat out his lead in front of the whole crowd.
All right, we got Brett Carlson is coming up. He needs to bump you right now. You're leading with 28.52. He needs 14.23.
Brent Carlson is next, but he's not looking very confident.
10.67. 10.67. You get to still stay up there, Jim.
Another one bites the dust, but here comes Jim Smith, and he's loaded for bear. Severson looks nervous as Smith's porky largemouth spin the scales.
Let's see here. He needs 14.02 to knock you off the throne here. I'd say it looks pretty possible.
Well, third's not bad.